Under this topic, we have direct and indirect speech. Direct and indirect speech. You would have learnt this grammar in your lower classes. That means in 8th standard, and we have to recall it now before we go into the exercise. What is direct speech? Saying exactly what someone has said is called a direct speech. What someone has said, and sometimes called quoted speech. It appears within quotation mark. See, for example, Ravi said, I am going to school. And the speaker is Ravi, the reporting verb is said, and I am going to school is a speech directly uttered by the speaker. And this, what he has said, is given within the quotation marks, and this is called direct speech. Direct speech. Ravi said, I am going to school. And now we have some exercises given in the textbook. Why does it always happen to me, Mom? It is taken from your text. Questioned Kaushik. The speaker is Kaushik. He questioned his mummy, why does it always happen to me? This is called direct speech. And before we go into the exercise, we have to see the kinds of sentences. Can you answer this? Can you tell me how many types of sentences we have? We have statement, interrogative, imperative, and we have exclamative. Before we go into the exercises, we have to see what type of sentence is given in the question paper. Now, this one is a question, and it starts with the question word, and there is a question mark, and here questioned. So, it is question. So, question, it comes under interrogative. And in interrogative, we have two types. One is WH question, and another one is yes or no type. And here, this one starts with why. So, this is WH question. Now, let us go into the exercise. How we are going to change this. And instead of saying indirect speech, this is also called reported speech. We are reporting it. We are receiving the message and we are reporting it. Now, you know the rules and regulations to change this one. Let us change this. Speaker is Kaushik. What he says is, what he does is asked. He asked. Because there is past tense here, so we are using asked. To whom he is asking? To Mum. So it should be brought here with this. Kaushik asked Mum. And what is the conjunction for this? It is why. Why itself stands for conjunction for interrogative WH question. Why? It, subject is it, always happened, because does plus happen is the present tense. So present tense should be changed into past tense According to that, we are putting this happened. Why does it always happen? To him. Because he is uttering the sentence directly. So he says to me, it should be changed as to him. Because it is a reported speech. Kaushik asked mom why it always happened to him. Now let us go to the next one. Aren't they beautiful? Aren't they beautiful? Asked Preeti. Preeti asked, aren't they beautiful? It is also interrogative. So how it is changed in reported speech? Let us see. As it is, Preeti asked. To whom she is putting, it is not given in the question. So let us go to the conjunction. Since this one is yes or no question, as you know very well, yes or no question starts with the auxiliary verb. So if or whether, either this or that we can use. If they were beautiful. If they were beautiful, because are becomes were here, since we have to use past tense instead of present tense. Preeti asked if they were beautiful. This is how we change into indirect speech. Let us go to the next one. There is a cockroach on your chair. There is a cockroach on your chair, she exclaimed. And by reading this and by seeing the mark, we can conclude that it is an exclamatory sentence. Okay, now let us see how it is changed. She, the name is not given, she exclaimed. How she exclaimed? Exclaimed in fear. It should be added because the mood of the speaker should be given here. So we are putting in fear. She exclaimed in fear. And the conjunction is that. That there was a cockroach on his chair. Since it is reported speech, your becomes his, because she uttered that to Kaushik. She wanted to get rid of the hiccup from him. That is why she is uttering this. She exclaimed in fear that there was a cockroach on his chair. And there is another example given in your textbook. How did it happen, sis? How did it happen, sis? We have to report this. In reported speech, he asked, because we know who uttered this, who asked this question. So instead of writing the name, we are using the pronoun. He asked. To whom? His sister. He asked his sister. And the conjunction is how. How itself stands for that. How it had happened. Because Did happen is equal to happen. Did plus happen. Did plus happen. Happened. This is in the past tense. So we are using past perfect for that. It had happened. He asked his sister how it had happened. And the next one is, am I boring? We know. Am I boring? We know. From the text it is taken. So it is uttered by Preeti, asked. We know. Because we know is standing in front of her and she is asking the question. So it should be brought with this. Asked, we know. Said to we know becomes asked, we know. If, because it starts with auxiliary verb, so it is yes or no question. The conjunction will be if. She was boring. If she was boring. Should be boring, boring. If she was boring, it becomes the statement. If she was boring. Preeti asked Vinu if she was boring. This is how we change them. Change interrogative into statement, into indirect speech. Let us go to the next example. Next one we have exclamatory. Exclamatory sentences. Here the emotion of the speaker is given. So joy, they may utter the sentence, they may utter with joy. And sorrow, contempt, regret, and surprise. So when we change it into indirect speech, in reported speech, we have to say exclaimed with sorrow, exclaimed with joy. In such a way we have to report it. So this becomes, joy becomes exclaimed with joy. The mood of the speaker should be told. Exclaimed with sorrow. Some people say exclaimed sorrowfully. That is also correct. Exclaimed with sorrow, exclaimed with contempt. Exclaimed with regret. Exclaimed with surprise. In such a way we have to write it in the reported speech. Okay, let us see some example here. The first one is given in the textbook. Hurrah! We have won the match. And the speaker is not given. In such times, in such places, we have to write our own, and here I am using he. He exclaimed with joy, because if they win the match, they will be with happy. So we have to use joy. Exclaimed with joy. And what about the conjunction that? they, because here in the indirect speech we is given, that becomes they. They, one is in the past tense, we have to change it into past perfect. Had one, win, won. The past participle is also one. So before that we had won the match. This is how we change direct into indirect. Now let's go to the next exercise. Where did you get this interesting novel? Where did you get this interesting novel from? So by seeing this itself we can find out that it is WH person. So let us change it. The speaker is not given, so he asked. He is uttering this to the person who is standing in front of him. So you becomes me. He asked me, and the conjunction is where. Where itself stands for conjunction. Where I had got. Because did plus get, got. It becomes had got. Where I had got that interesting novel from. He asked me where I had got that interesting novel from.